Previously on Buy a House with Sweat Equity.
And our whole goal today is to literally rip everything out. Rip the kitchen out, rip the bathroom out, and then go downstairs and completely gut the place.
Sure. Give it a shot. Well, you bang stuff off your fridge, your wife's gonna be pissed at you.
All right, we're back again. This should be the end of the demolition. We've got the master electrician here as well, so he's giving us his plans on what he's going to do. We've got Darshni and Hassan back here. They're going to start doing the cleanup from our big demolition day, and we're going to get this project cranking right after this.
My name's Ken Dunn. I'm a real estate investor, developer, and a national housing advocate. For decades now, thousands and thousands of Canadian families have been stuck in situations that they don't want. They want to own homes. They want a place to call their own and raise their families. And they're struggling trying to put the money together for a down payment. They're struggling trying to keep their credit in good standing, paying for rent, being moved around, and never feeling settled down. Real estate investors have been using strategies for decades where they buy houses with other people's money, they borrow the money to increase the value, and they sell the houses, making incredible profits. I'm going to show these Canadian families how to use the same techniques to buy their dream homes. They're not going to need down payments, they're not going to need credit, because they're going to buy a house with sweat equity.
All right, you guys saw how in this last episode we ripped this place apart. Now we're here with an electrical contractor. Meet Keith.
How are you?
Keith is an master electrical contractor, and I would say one of the most important people that you're going to bring in as a contractor is somebody like Keith, a really great electrical contractor, especially in these old projects, because we really don't know the electrical work we're going to need to do until we rip this place apart. And so you want to have an electrical contractor that's willing to work with you and come in and start pulling things apart so they can get you a proper quote, but make sure you know who you're dealing with, because there are some electrical contractors that will take advantage of you. So have somebody that you can actually trust. So, brother, what did we find? We ripped this thing open. We suspected that we were going to find a lot of weird crap in here.
Yep.
What did we find? The general overall state of the electrical system in the house.
Very poor. It's one big daisy chain. We've disconnected a few receptacles and the whole place went out. There's no lights left or anything.
So you're telling me that, so this place was probably built in like 1940, 1930, but you're telling me that when they built this back in the day, they connected all the plugs in all the rooms on one big connecting circuit.
Yep.
Yeah, that's scary. And so just so you guys understand that, in the world that Keith operates in today, there are rules in every province and state. There's going to be an electrical safety authority, and they put together the rules on how things work. We see things like the implementation and use of ground fault wires and plugs, that anytime any type of electricity is even close to water, you have to have these automatic disconnects. They're called ground faults that will literally shut down the power, and you have to turn them back on again. You see them in bathrooms. Those became popular as things evolved. And then having a maximum load on a circuit has become really important.
It has.
This stuff.
The other thing that's been implemented is you now have to put arc fault breakers, which if you get a little arc, much like a light switch.
Yep.
So all the receptacles in the house except for the bathroom and the kitchen have to be on arc fault breakers.
Yeah, so it just makes everything safer. Like, I can't even fathom, because when we looked at that old fuse panel downstairs, which we're going to go back down again in a second and take a look at, there were, I think, 8 or 9 fuses. And I would have assumed that the load in the house was equally distributed between all of those fuses, but I guess that just wasn't the case.
No, because most of that that was dedicated to the kitchen. So the rest of the house was picked up on one or two. Originally there was only like 6 circuits in the whole house.
Right.
And by the time we're done, we'll probably have closer to 20.
All right. I know you're busy doing this stuff right now, but can we take a minute and just walk around and show people some of the little interesting things we came across as we were opening up walls?
Yep.
Where do we want to go first? The kitchen?
Sure.
All right. We're going to head out to the kitchen. All right. What do we got here?
This is an old exhaust fan in here that nobody puts an exhaust fan like this for controls. It's just, and none of the boxes in here had ground wires in them.
Because they're so old.
Yeah.
So what we did is we ripped all this open so we can understand it, and now we're designing our kitchen right now, but in the meantime, we know where things are gonna be. So we just, to keep ourselves organized properly, we know we're gonna have a stove here on the end, and we're gonna do a microwave with a hood vent in it above the stove, counters all the way across here, counters around here, dishwasher beside the sink, which is the smartest place to put it, and then more counters around this side. Now that we've got all that stuff figured out, what's our attack plan to get all this fixed?
We need to get rid of this, because this wall's so beat up, is get rid of the drywall on this wall. It'd just make it a whole lot easier for me and my crew to put things back together and save you time.
So what we'll do for you, and this is normally what's going to happen, this is a part of the really great relationship with any electrical contractor. We're going to have this plan we're developing together. So in the perfect world, what you like to have happen in any construction project is you do all your demolition, then you get all your rough framing done, then you bring in your electrical contractor. But if you're doing a renovation like this, if you're trying to increase the value, or you're doing a flip and you have an electrical contractor that you build a great relationship with, it can be even easier and quicker to do the way Keith and I work together. So Keith is in here now doing the work that he can on the system. We're here and he's telling us, okay, what I need you to do for me, and there's 2 things he's pointed out. Number 1, we're going to do more demolition. We have to rip this whole wall out, so all this stuff off of it, to bring it right back to the studs.
Yep.
Because Keith needs that to redo everything the easiest way. And then the second thing is the fridge.
Based on our plans, we're closing the doorway in here,
Yep.
and we're going to be moving the fridge.
The fridge is going to be right against the wall here, which is why we left the wall closed up here.
Yep. So the new power for the fridge is going to end up coming up in the middle of the doorway once it's reframed in to be closed.
Which brings me to the next point about the partnership that we have, right? As you can see now, if we move back a little bit, we're missing a wall. So this used to be a thoroughfare through it. We realized that we could close this in, make it part of the wall, move the fridge over, create more room in the kitchen. But because the electrical contractor needs to actually put a new plug there, and he's here working now, what we're going to do is we're going to come in and we're actually going to frame this in to the proper the proper building code standards, put the rough framing in there so that he can drop that plug in there, get the kitchen moved over, get the kitchen cleaned up and ready to go. All right, let's head downstairs. Okay, a couple things I want to go over with you guys really quickly, just about the general layout before we jump back into the electrical. So you can see the benefit of completely ripping everything out of here, right? You get a better look at the space and what you have. Some of the limitations that we're gonna have whenever we come up with the final design is these guys. This is holding your house up, so we can't do anything with that. So I wanted to look at what could we do in here in this space to really make it better, make it special. And one of the couple things that we have to think about is right now we're gonna be building your master bedroom, your ensuite bathroom, your walk-in closet all down here. But for the future, we want to make sure we set this up so it could be another apartment. And so if we're looking at that, some of the things that we have to think about are the fact that the laundry room is here. And if we want to offer laundry for both of the tenants, then we have to make sure that there's going to be a door here that's accessible to them. But if that's the case, then we're going to have to put a door here to get into the apartment. So they'll have the people that come into this apartment will come in from the side, they'll come down these stairs. The laundry is going to be a common area, so both tenants can use it, but then these guys will have to put another door here. And I was kind of really trying to figure out how not to do that, because it's a limited space and you have such a low ceiling here. But I don't think there's anything we can really do about that. So we want to have some type of door here. Now the next thing that we have to think about is, remember the whole layout that we said for this room, that we want to have an open area first that could be like a combination eating area, a little kitchenette, and a sitting area, and then the bedroom further down. But again, with these guys in mind, so if we follow the same floor plan, so we put in a wall here, and the door is in this space, we've got enough room right beside it here that we could put some type of appliance. And I'm trying to optimize the actual space that we have here. So what I'm thinking we might end up doing is having the door to the apartment open this way, to the space that opens this way. And then right beside it, we can encroach on this space so that the actual fridge comes right to here. So we keep as much room as we want in here. So it'd be like a little pocket that the fridge sits in beside that. And then we would just have finished drywall beside this because you can't put anything around that. But then in this space here is where the little kitchenette would be. And it would be like a galley kitchen so that you'd walk right up to it. You don't have room for any countertops or any, above cabinetry, but you have a nice countertop across it. We could have a sink in this. We could have a dishwasher below it and a little microwave right on the counter. So now we're taking that and we're putting that stuff in this space here. And then right where this big waste of space is where we can cut that across. We'll have to see how it works with the window there, but that's where the door into your bedroom would be. Does that make sense? Are you guys good with that?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect, excellent.
Let's have a look at the old panel, and you can see how small it is. Originally, when the house was put in, it was put in with that panel there only. See, 4 circuits, and this at one time would have said the
You're
stove.
telling me when they set this house up, the only power for this whole house is right there, that
Yep.
little panel. Okay, that's scary.
And now the replacement panel will probably be about this long, and it'll have room for future expansion.
Are we gonna have room for their hot tub?
Of course.
There we go. Awesome. Now, of course, most people will realize this is the meter, right? This
Yep.
this is what Oshawa Hydro, which is the hydro authority here,
Yep.
puts in here, and this is how we measure. So occasionally they'll even have to come in here and read this. So we have to leave that accessible for them.
Nope. When we change and upgrade the service, this has to go outside now.
Oh, perfect. Okay, great. That's even easier. So essentially what you're going to be doing as part of your work is ripping all this out and
All of
replacing.
it. Yeah.
Very cool.
So none of this antique equipment will be here.
All right, great. This will be the master bathroom.
Okay.
And we got the plumbers all set up. They're going to come in a few days and they'll dig it all up and get everything squared away again. And then we'll put a separating wall in. And then here's going to be on this side of this big beast is another door, which is a walk-in closet.
Okay.
So just some electrical in here, switch on and all the rest of it. All right. Any questions for me on any of this stuff? Any other thing I need to be thinking about?
No, I'm just gonna need some framing and, well, just to show you how bad this place was, the plugs that we started disconnecting this morning, see the lights here? That's where the plugs come down to, into that light box.
So you're telling me all of the electrical plugs upstairs all fed into that light box there?
On this side of the house. Well, it's either that one or this one. Because as you see, I'm cutting a few out and I've got to go in and clean them up later, but
So what's important about this and why this actually is easier is because we gutted the whole downstairs of this and we're not doing anything until Keith is done. It's a lot easier to run new wire everywhere and run new wire back to a panel and stick that in there.
and not having ground wires and things, we have to replace all the wire in the house.
Yeah, exactly. All right, after the break, we're gonna get busy. So what do we have to do? First thing we have to do is finish the cleanup. So we got all that stuff in the backyard that we got to put together, get into the bin. We should probably do some cleanup in here and get rid of some of these piles of stuff. But the most important thing, I've got 100 2x4s sitting in the basement now, and we're gonna build some walls. Before we finish, we have to put that small wall in the kitchen, and then we're gonna go downstairs and we're gonna completely frame in the new bedroom, the new bathroom, the walk-in closet, and the new kitchen. We're gonna do all of the exterior framing now because if you think about it this way, and it's part of your electrical, you wanna get your electrical figured out first, if you have to do any mechanical, which is your heating, air conditioning, and your plumbing, you're gonna talk to those contractors, and once you have your decisions made on your layout, so how you want the place to look, then you're gonna have to do the base framing, which just means a whole bunch of 2x4s that you put the foundation around what you're gonna do. You gotta get that in place because the electricians and the plumbers, they have to have something to attach their wires to. So we're gonna do that today. So stick around after the break and you're gonna see Hassan and I get really busy and start putting 2x4s on the walls.
Introducing the ultimate in hydrotherapy and premium relaxation. Experience the epitome of artisanship with Canadian hot tubs. Meticulously handcrafted for over 4 decades, Canadian hot tubs are synonymous with comfort, depth, and unwavering durability. You can choose from our range of 4-foot cedar tubs or indulge in the therapeutic embrace of our 5-foot hydrotherapy models. Available in Canada and across the world, Canadian hot tubs bring a touch of luxury to homes worldwide. Craftsmanship that speaks for itself. Visit canhottub.com now.
There you go. We got to make sure we don't make the bags that heavy anymore. So we just learned the golden rule. Don't just fill up the bags. All right, all this got to come in. Yeah, just put it right on top. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So we just carried in all the framing wood. So what we're going to do with that, if you notice there was 2 different types of wood, the dark stuff is called pressure treated. It's actually pressure treated. It's meant for the outside or meant to get wet and it'll stay good. So according to the building code, when you're doing a basement like this and you're putting any walls up, you have to do one of 2 things. You either have to use a plastic wrap underneath the bottom of the normal wood to protect it, to keep it dry and keep it from the moisture, or you can do a double footer, which means you put pressure treated all the way along the bottom and when we build the wall on top of the pressure treated. So it's easier to get the pressure treated wood, use a gun, shoot it into place. It's all there and then we're going to build the walls on top of it. So what we're going to do with this wood is we're going to build the exterior wall all the way around the finished part of the basement. So we got all the right tools, no slinging hammers. We got guns with bullets that make it really easy to do it. But I know you guys are here sick of me saying this. Before we start doing the framing, we got to clean up this garbage. Treated 2x4s, just one of them. So what we have to do, just put it right beside it. There's the end of it, right along the wall. 41.
If you live in this amazing country and you dream about having a house for your family, a home you can call your own, but you haven't been able to do that because you have a hard time building up a down payment, or the banks are telling you they can't help you because of credit, then pay attention. This ad is for you. My name is Ken Dunn, and I'm a real estate investor and a national housing advocate. I have to tell you, there's a housing crisis going on right now, but the governments aren't going to fix it for you. All the governments are worried about is building more apartments, building more rental units. But until we figure out a way to help Canadians right across this country to buy homes with no money, then the crisis is never going to end. But don't worry, I've got the solution. I've been investing in real estate projects for more than 30 years, and I've never used any of my own money to buy the real estate. Here's what happens. I find a place that I want to buy. I look for places that are cheaper than the market, so they're below value, and I buy the properties with private money, 100%. and then I renovate the properties, increase the value. Then I go to the bank and say, hey, I own this house that's worth $800,000 and I only need a mortgage for $600,000, and they give me the mortgages. And you know what the dirty little secret the banks won't tell you is, if you have equity in the property, they're not going to ask to see your credit. They're not going to ask about your loans. They don't ask about any of that stuff. I want to show you how to do this. I've helped hundreds of Canadian families just like you to buy homes without a down payment. And in this live workshop, I'm going to show you how to go out and find an undervalued house in your community that would make the right home for your family, and it's a fixer-upper. Then I'm going to show you how to buy that property without using any money. You use private investors' funds, and I'll show you how to get them. Then I'm going to show you how to renovate the property using other people's money. And then once it's done, you're going to own a house that's got hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity in it, and you can easily get a bank loan and live happily ever after. It's called Buying a House with Sweat Equity. And if you click on the link, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it.
All right, I'm tired.
Me too.
You guys?
Yes.
So you're not really going to get a good feel for this, but we've spent the last couple hours like cleaning up everything from the demolition. We've got all the lumber for the basement down here. We've got the floorboards, the footers, all the way around, pressure treated footers. And I just realized we don't have levels. So the next step is to build the walls down here. And what we do is we're going to leave, if you look around the outside of the floor here, you'll see pressure treated wood along the floor. This is your pressure treated footer. Now, according to the building zoning, like the bylaws, the rules, you either have to use plastic on the floor or you can use pressure treated. I like pressure treated. It just gives you a bit more strength and it does the same thing. So I put the pressure treated wood loose along the floor. It's not connected right now at all. The next step would be to build the walls, and we build the walls out of the spruce, but the 2x4x8s, and then we get them all in place, and then just before we stand them, we use the levels to make sure that our baseline of pressure treated is level along the floor on both sides. Then we stand the walls, we level them off, and we secure them top and bottom and to the sides to each other. We don't have levels. So that's it for today. We've got a lot of work done here. We're all set up. We're going to get into framing in the next episode. After the break, we're going to be talking to Keith, our electrician, and see how that goes. And we'll be back later. This is exhausting, but it's gonna work. Believe it or not, I know it feels like organized chaos, but it's coming together. We've got our electricians that are gonna jump into high gear. They're gonna have all the electrical done. They actually have to go to the local power authority and get a permit because we want to increase the amount of electricity that's coming in. But the best thing is when you're doing this, go find a really experienced contractor, an electrical contractor, and they'll take care of everything. They'll come up with the plans, they'll get the permits, they'll deal with your power authorities and just make your life really easy. We're gonna finish the framing in the house in the next 5 days. And then our general contractor is going to come in. His name is Patrick, and he's been working with me for years, and he's going to take over and finish the job. Oh wait, I forgot. There's one more thing I have to do. My team came to me just as I was wrapping up, and they said, you forgot to announce that Hasib Ali, you won last week's prize. We're going to spend a couple hours together. You can pick my brain. We're going to go crazy. We're going to build a project. It's going to be amazing. So congratulations to Hasib Ali. You're this week's winner.